Unauthorized media.
It's like a really nice addiction, to really get in the gym and like focus on something else rather than
Yeah.
what's going on in my life. Currently it's fucking hard, man. Like I've been unemployed for fucking 9 months. I've been trying to do things and trying to, you know, better myself at the same time. But I just feel like sometimes when you have like you're clinically diagnosed with depression, right? And you don't really tell nobody. And depression is
hmm
fucking crazy, man. Like yeah, it hits me and shit like that. I don't take meds because I just don't believe that meds are the fucking answer to everything, you
Yeah.
know. And I give it up to people out there who's really dealing with depression. And sometimes, cases really severe. I don't have a severe case of depression, but I do have a case of depression. Like the weather. If I look outside and it's gray, fuck, I'm gonna be fucking affected by that shit. I could be having a good day, all of a sudden I could feel like shit for some reason. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And and I reach out to people, and I've always had a big group of people in my life that I could depend on, and it doesn't matter if they've been in and out of my life, they're checking in. It's cool that I could just bounce back to them and be like, hey man, I just need someone to talk to, or I'm there for you, vice versa type stuff, and just having those conversations, it fucking it's a morale booster for me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, now I understand, like I just got to get out of my head, and this shit's just temporary. And yesterday, I went on live. I'm sure you saw it,
Yeah.
and
You were going through it, bro.
I just fucking laid it out. I don't care if I wasn't making sense because I couldn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It was just something that was going on in my head, and like dealing with your highs, like going to the gym, and all of a sudden, boom, I get fucking hurt. Playing basketball on my knee, and so now I'm like depressed because I can't move around like I want to, and I'm just taking any job. And so the place where I was at an auto pipe place. And, he was like, you can start as soon as you get better. I was just like, man, I was going to start this week because, I need something. I'm not going to just
Yeah.
sit here and be defeated and be like, fuck, I can't get my career, my dream career, on lock right now. So let me just put this on hold. I just need to do something, and I just had to be comfortable with being uncomfortable just for this moment, because I know things are going to change and things are going to brighten up. And today, I'm thankful that you hit me up. It's like, man, how you doing? I'm just like, man, I'm ready to fucking do a follow up live, whatever, and post it up and let everybody know. Thank you for reaching out and whatnot. And man, it's a better day for sure. And man, yesterday was just the coldest slump, man. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how that shit happens.
Now that definitely, I can definitely relate. It is one of those things to where, I mean, I personally went through and am still going through. I mean, when you've got depression, I'm not clinically diagnosed because I just don't go there. I just don't go there, and because I know. I
Yeah.
mean, my family is. I can take a look at my family, and I know there's something there. There's definitely something there. I know, and once I've accepted that fact, it's just I'm looking for always things to cope. And with depression, if you've got it, there's so many trigger points that you're constantly fighting.
Hmm.
It might be okay today, it might be okay for a week, but then if there's a trigger point, anything that triggers it, it snaps you so into it that it's like debilitating. You feel
Hmm.
paralyzed, not even physically, mentally, and it just messes everything up around you, and it just messes up your day. That's one big thing about Seattle, man. It's just those gray days really get you.
Hmm.
Those gray days, those rainy days, those stretches, they really get you. And it takes much more to actually pull yourself out of that. And like you said, like growing up and coming up, we've had huge groups. I mean, we've been blessed with huge groups,
Hmm.
huge groups of people. But it's just like there's such a smaller, as you get up there in age and where we're at right now, and with our responsibilities, that huge group also has their own. And it's hard to keep moving like that and still have expectation for that group to keep pulling you out. So it's then you start relying with individuals. And
Hmm.
I'm not telling this to you, I'm telling this from where I'm coming from.
Right.
So, and that's when I was when I heard at first, one of the homies hit me up and said, hey, is E okay? And I thought we were talking about that one post that you had with your knee or with your leg, or I'm not sure exactly what the injury was. And I was like, no, he's gonna be good. That's he just loves basketball and everything like that, and he just wants to get back in there. But it's kind of a reality of his age, right?
Hmm.
I didn't know you went live, and when I saw that, it was a bit later in the evening, and it was I automatically put myself in your seat because those I've been in many of those times, but not to the point where I really, for me, that thing that I would have done if I would have went live, that would have been a super public outcry. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that was the thing for you, but at the same time, you were leveling, you were feeling it all, and you were going through it, and you were using yourself as kind of a vessel, a person to just like, hey, look at me, what I'm doing right now. I still want to lift you. It's like, because you still got that deep heart of just wanting to help people grow, man.
Mhm.
But there was definitely that lost in some parts desperation in what you were putting out there. And that's just me telling you as somebody that was looking at it.
Yeah.
That's why I had to check in. That's why, and I totally feel it, bro. These little triggers and those conversations that we have with other people, and for me, and I can, again, on all these things, I can only speak for myself.
Mhm.
Much of it is very temporary. I mean, nowadays we just don't check up on each other. I mean, the most important people in my life growing up haven't even checked up on me once. Um, Aside from family, right?
Right.
They haven't checked up on me once. So I go through it. I still go through it, but I just try not to let it bother me and everything. But I mean, I just this stripped like this strip series, and I think I'm gonna keep moving forward with it. Is
Mhm.
it really, for me, it helps me, and it's very selfish that I mean putting it out there, but it also, I understand that there's people out there that that also want to put themselves out there and feel that this is kind of like a platform and conversation that can help out. It's
Yeah.
very, very, very brave to put yourself out there like that. Um, so with what was going down yesterday, I mean, just that whole day was like that for you?
The whole day, yeah, starting from the beginning, I woke up and I just know, like, I already knew this month was going to be hard just because of like the circumstances that are happening around me and stuff
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
It was going to be hard. I knew that my back was going to be against the wall. I'm going to have to figure things out. I'm going to need some kind of support, and I just felt like I didn't have that, and it's just not,
Yeah,
but it's not true. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you deal with depressions, that's the shit that goes through your mind. You feel like you got nobody, and then you can't smile, you can't look to like another person or whatever, and you just feel alone and it sucks, you know what I'm saying? And
mhm,
I was just like, I've never recorded myself in that state of mind before. And then I watched it over and over and over again, just listening. It's like, oh shit. From the very first thing that came out of my mouth, there was like a sigh, and it was almost like I was gonna cry.
yeah,
And I just didn't know where I was gonna go with this. It was like, if anybody's listening out there, if this is gonna help anybody out, just keep pushing yourself and keep going, go on with your day and things are gonna get better. And I just try to get out of the funk. And I know,
yeah,
like, as I kept on going, the message was like changing. It went from like really going down on myself to like, hey, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep pushing. I got people here that really fucking care about me.
yeah,
And doing that post yesterday, I mean, it wasn't an outreach for help or anything like that. It was just me finding to see how I look like when I'm going through a depression. Cause like I don't look into
mhm,
myself in the mirror and cry and and just look at myself and just be like, damn, motherfucker, you need to get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? Like I know sometimes when people are in depression, they lock the doors, they close the blinds, they just hide under their blanket and they cry and shit. Like there was times where I've done that where I could even get out of bed and I'm just like, fuck, Raymond, like today's one of those days because I know we had these conversations before. It's like, fuck, I can't
oh
get out
yeah,
of bed. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But like, really, like in reality, like the people who are even really close to me don't even really know that I've been like
yeah,
diagnosed with depression and stuff. Like I've been going to counseling for so long, but like nobody knows because I didn't want to share that stuff because I was embarrassed. But now to put it out there and to check up on mental health, it's a really big deal. Like among friends, if you're not checking up on them and stuff like that, man, like man, who knows, man? They could be
oh
gone
yeah.
tomorrow. And
It's super common, bro. It's
mhm,
super common, and it's so cliche to say this, that you're not alone, and you're not alone with that type of like machismo mentality, right? Of
mhm,
like just wanting, just having this super ego. I saw one of the comments yesterday, and it's just like, we were built for, we're from a different era,
mhm,
and we've got that type of mentality to push through. That's also, for me. I mean, me coming up, I was that dude, that I was that dude with really a lot of that ego and everything like that. But it's just there's
Hmm.
also that part where it's to grow from that and to to be to help yourself, your your depression and the and that right now for me it feels like a disability. The biggest part that helped me out a lot, bro, is just the humility factor of it, to where it's like, yo, just to have somebody there and be like, listen, I'm going through it. This is who I am. I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
And if it takes like one, two, three, four people, I don't think, it takes. I don't think they look at you any less. I wouldn't look at you any less. I would look at you as just like, yo, this is the dude that's going through it, and it's like, who can blame you? In this day and age, and the time and the stuff that you're going through, and the fact that you're even out of bed, putting on a shirt, you're going through it. It's just much more respect in that. So for you to finally put yourself out there. And it's like with you back in the car, you said, it really wasn't an outcry. For me, having gone through that stuff, it's a lot of times when, like you said, when you're going through something like this, it's super lonely. It's super lonely, even if in a crowd of people. You hear it all the time. In a crowd of people, this person smiling. The most joyous people are usually the most loneliest ones. Case in point, like Robin Williams at the highest scale, right? To where you put yourself out there, but it's sometimes in that loneliness, that inner voice, that inner self, that is that strength actually speaks out, and it didn't matter if the camera was on or if you ended up just yelling at yourself in the car. It's that inner self pulling you through. And as you talked yourself through it, that depression, that imbalance of the chemicals that was going through, that passion that was coming out from the true side of yourself, that then raised that other stuff to balance it up. So it's very, I mean, a lot of times it's very important. I go out, I take a drive, I start talking. When I start feeling it a little bit, and it triggers something, I start talking to myself, or I just start like really vocalizing what I'm feeling. And then there's something, the human body is such a freaking just clusterfuck of everything, right? There's
Hmm.
so many things that can in one day, one level of your chemical, what makes your body tick and feel a certain way is off. In us, that can trigger so many imbalances and so many freaking things that would get you off keel. It's just
Hmm.
a matter of once you understand that, and it's just nothing. It's just like, hey, my body's messed up today and something's kind of off. You raise something else to counter that. And I
Hmm.
think what happened in that, and what happened in the car with you, as soon as you vocalize it and as soon as you actually put it out there towards like, yo, I'm much more important than I'm much less important than what other people are going through out there, then things started changing and that, and it felt better. It felt better.
Hmm.
But it's also, like you said, it's very, very lonely, man. It's very lonely, especially from the time and age that we came from, where we were just peaking with everybody around us. You're sitting there like in a center circle, and before you know it, you're sitting there alone, looking around and be like, "Man, what the heck's next?"
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's just go back to what you were, 'cause like what was going down yesterday. Just like it was just from the very beginning, you start feeling it, and then it just kind of compounded throughout the day.
Yeah. It just kind of like, man, um, just, like the homies would, hold on, let me start this over. So like as my day started, of course, like it was okay. And then I started going out and like doing this thing, just driving and looking outside, and I don't know. It's like they can't really pinpoint like the whole reaction, the whole feeling behind it. It just like kicked in, like reality had just set in for that quick second. It's like, hey, the fuck are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
bro.
Like I was feeling so lost, so low. I was like, fuck man, like dog, I need a fucking change. Dog. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I felt like, man, I wasn't gonna be me. Like, how am I gonna get the fuck out of this funk, man? Like, like you said, like people come around, like, man, he walks around with the biggest heart, smiling all the time. And yesterday, I, I couldn't even fucking put a smile on my face, dog. And that shit was fucking killing me. I was like, dog, I know shit's hard right now. I know it's hard right now. I gotta fucking change it. I gotta change me. I gotta find me. I gotta find the real E. E gotta come out, and like, then it's like, fucking sucked. And like when that shit started recording, and I knew I had to talk about it, and it just changed a little bit. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm there. I know I got to stay focused. I know I got people who depend on me. I got Miles. I got my family, even my siblings. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta do it for them. Like I cannot give up. I cannot just be like wait for this fucking career goal to happen. I gotta make shit work. You know, when your back is against the wall, it's either fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? And there's no fucking way that I'm gonna run away from my shit. No fucking way, dog.
Yeah, and at
And you
that
gotta
moment,
just do, yeah, you just gotta do what you gotta fucking do. And the thing is, like, my fucking ego was bruised, man. Like, you know what? I came from the highest of highs, you know what I'm saying, with the best job, and you know, I got the best girlfriend. My relationship was dope, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden just comes fucking crashing down. And you don't really know how to cope with it. You know, it's like, okay. I try to talk to people in my life, you know, so it's like, okay, I hate to be a burden on you, but I just need you to hear me real quick. I'm fucking struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing about me that's perfect. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a perfect person. People have their issues and stuff like that. But I'm not really the type to sit here and push my issues on anybody. You know, just because I don't know. I just feel like it's a burden on them. It's like, man, he is fucking tripping right now. He's calling me up about this, that. He needs help with all this shit, man. He always comes to me when he's fucking, you know, going through some shit. And that's not even the case. That's just my mind telling me that. Nobody's saying that shit to me. It's like, E, you're a
yeah,
burden. I've
yeah,
never heard that. It's just in my head. I'm thinking like, oh man, you're being a burden. You're being a burden. Fuck that. You don't need to talk to nobody. Keep that shit to yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, nah, that's not the case. So I think we're having like, you know, depression and some, you know, little mental health stuff going on. It's it's really your reality. It's not balanced. It's like your mind is playing tricks on you, and it's something that you can't really control. You know, it just happens, and just like,
it is.
and you gotta realize, hey, it's just your fucking mind playing games. And like I said, once I hit record, it was coming to realizations like, okay, this is reality now. I'm looking into my matrix, and then I got to build it. The only way I know how to do it is just fucking keep my head up, keep going, and hopefully, me saying this or spreading the word out and going live. If it's not helping myself, I hope it's helping somebody else too, because I know I'm not the only one that's going through this shit.
Yeah. Now, so many people can relate, bro. And there's like in this day and age, but like especially with all the social issues going around, all the financial issues people are going through it, at every level. Like people are all going through it. Um, Most people have it much together, much they've got it together better than we do. I got to tell you though, there's like one of the turnarounds, and mind you, I totally sit there and when I'm listening to you, I was like, man, I can put myself in that seat, and I've felt it all with you, man. It's like to burden somebody else, that ego. And again, it goes back to that ego, to where it's like I've been that dude that people have felt like was a rock before, that had got their stuff together, right? One of the homies recently, when I interviewed him, he talked about you. He was just like, this is the coolest guy in the damn room. And then, and then you to have people look at you like that, and you are, and most you know who you are. But then there's also another part to where it's like there that was a point in time, and there's nothing wrong, because life changes. Life can change in a blink of an eye with you. Just if you can be just the most highly regarded person, and if you mess up and accidentally do something heinous as far as crime and everything like that, that whole thing is gone. you know and things can change, and you can change, and your situation can change to who you are now. It's like there's nothing wrong with that's the whole humility factor. There's nothing wrong to be where it's be like, you know what, I was that dude. I'm not that dude anymore at all. I'm just the furthest from that guy. And I need a little bit of work, and I'm gonna be okay working on me being something closer to what that is, or just something okay, because
Mhm.
it's going to take a lot for you to get back to that guy. Maybe eventually, maybe not, but there needs to be a realization that's like, you know what, at this phase in my life, I don't even want to be that dude anymore, because that whoever that guy is that a lot of people had looked up to, especially on my case, a lot of people looked up, at some point, and people still hit me up like, yo, yeah, blah blah blah, and I was like, that's not even me. That was a lifetime ago. But then that's the whole point. This is lifetime now. And if you're dealing with it now and you know you're so further away from that, your day ones become day twos, day threes to the next phase, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's but there's again the humility factor, bro. And for me, just through my experience, I went dry for like 4 years. I knew the one of the things that really messes with my imbalance is that alcohol. And just, there's that was me. I was just out there, I was just out and about, and it's just I needed clarity. I needed like a hard reset. I'm not saying that's your issue. I'm not saying that's the issue for a lot of people that are dealing with it. Whatever your choice is of vice, it's worth taking a look at if your imbalance is happening a lot more frequently. I would wake up the next day and I just couldn't move because I knew that's what that was, and plus it magnified and elevated whatever else could have triggered me.
Hmm.
Um, when I would be inebriated to a point where it's like I've already gone, I was like 99% of the time I was the best husband. 99% of the time I was the best father. And that 1% of the time, my whole life could have changed.
Yeah.
My whole life could have changed. And to where I would have lost it all. And so there needs to be something as far as taking a look at with my, and that's what I took a look at with my situation. Took 4 years. I saw how everything kind of like developed in front of me, how people just changed from this person to that person. I mean, you've got the most meek, the most antisocial person freaking blow up to where he's yelling on the top of its lungs and having the most fun. That's that, and that's all again in like the
Hmm.
balances of the chemicals that are released during that time, right? And
Hmm.
then the next day they go back to that, but then they sink a little bit lower. And that was
Yeah.
me. I would make that a suggestion. It's a big change in life. It's a big change in person. But once you can accept that because it worked for me,
Hmm.
there's so much clarity. There's so
Right.
much clarity. You just sit there and you feel not so righteous, but you feel
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
But that's also another thing you should avoid. It's like if you end up going down that path, the righteous part of it is like then you get pushed away. It's like I'm trying to see that, because a lot of people
Yeah.
can't go through it. A lot of people ain't ready. People will go up to me and say, I'm so proud of you that you're dry. And I was like, it's not that hard, but you just need to make a decision. It's like not a lot of people went that route with me, but I
Hmm.
don't care. It's just because I got to deal with me.
Yeah. And the end of the day is only you, right? You got
Yeah.
to work on yourself. Got to practice that self care, that self love, and everything is about yourself. And like I think I lost that thought, and I was just back again to worried about what other people are thinking or who I could help, and like my relationship, and it just really wasn't coming down to me. And
Yeah.
there was things that were said to me. It's like, man, you're out here looking for validation, and you need to just work on yourself. It's like you're doing everything out for like the wrong reasons. And I was like, maybe I am. I'm just so used to just being around a lot of people and just being there for them, or
Yeah.
vice versa. But then again, that was my vice. It's like I love being around the people. Those are the ones that are keeping me sane. And if I'm alone by myself, then I'm gonna get lost in my thoughts and my
Yeah.
mind's gonna go all over the place. And I don't want to be that case. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, damn, I was just with you yesterday. We were just having a great time. We were laughing and kicking it. And he was cracking jokes. He got this big old smile and then come home and take off my clown mask, and just sit there. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's like you said, once you get on that high, it drags you down even lower. It's like, okay, like where's the balance at? It's like who can I go to? And I think that's why I kind of gravitate to like other people and stuff like that, and always have to be on my phone and always got to check up on things. It's just I have to keep busy. I have to keep my mind in a state where I'm not thinking about like I'm not saying I'm suicidal. It's like just that kind of in general. It's like I'm not thinking about killing myself. I'm not thinking all negative. You know what I'm saying? Because with certain cases of depression, it's always about taking the easy way out. So is people gonna care about me if I'm not here tomorrow? Type shit. And every day you're checking up on your people. It's like, man, I love you. Everything's gonna be okay. But when you're dealing with that kind of stuff and you're in that state of mind, you don't hear it anymore.
You don't.
You're
You
just you're
don't.
just like you're just like do they really though? Like, do they really love me? Would they really care if I'm gone? And you start asking yourself these questions. I used to ask these questions all the time. And I know when someone told me it's like that is the most fucking selfish question you could ask yourself, Eric. is who's gonna be at your fucking funeral when you die. You know what I'm saying? And that shit to me is the most fucking selfish question, to ever ask yourself. It's like, would I even fucking matter? Of course you fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't see it, just know that you fucking matter. And then it goes out to anybody who's feeling like this. Just know, hey,
Hmm.
if you're going through something, you fucking matter. All right. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's your teacher, your brother, a coworker, whatever, man, to them, if they know you and they see you happy all the time and something happens to you, you're gonna fucking matter. And they're gonna fucking reach out to you and they're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is going on with you? Eat like, well, how did we lead to your death like that or whatever? So like, what was it? Like you never reached out to me and now you're hurting everybody around you. I was like, damn. Now you're leaving with everybody to grieve over you just because you thought nobody was gonna be there for you when you fucking left. And that was the shit I was always fucking thinking about, bro. It's like, no one's gonna fucking care if I leave. You know what I'm saying? And it was just point blank. So I had to go to counseling. I had to just sit there and write down all my thoughts and why I felt like that. And there was really no fucking answer to it. You know what I'm
No.
saying? It's just something you gotta really, really gotta figure out and open up your eyes and kind of doing it. And that's the sucky part about like depression. And it's just so fucking hard, man. Like people, I don't think they understand how hard it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not trying to hear you and we're not trying to push you away. It's like our mind and everything that's going on within my body is just shutting down completely.
Yeah, that's 100% facts with regards to when other people are dealing with you in those instances to where you're at your lowest and they and you're saying all those things to where they think it's ludicrous and they think you're selfish and they think it's this. And that's one thing that when I finally opened up to my wife and a lot of a lot of times, all those my breakdowns and when I was at my worst, um it was because it was compounded internalization of what I really truly felt and had to deal with that. And if you're not saying it out loud, or if you're not like saying it against the way, if you're not saying it out loud, you're not dealing with it because you're sitting there, with like people that have this, people that go through this. It's so overwhelming when it's in your head. It's so overwhelming when you feel it. It hurts and it's just so heavy. That's why you can't move. That's why you don't want to move. That's why you don't even want to talk. And you're just at at the most parts, it's like you're just staring because and that stare is just you just so overwhelmed with your body. And like what helped us out the most is when I finally said, it's like, listen, I'm broken. I'm so broken and I haven't dealt with things the right way. Like when my brother passed, when my brother, just, and he was also another one that I know that he dealt with it. He was, and he took the way out.
Mm-hmm.
um I knew at that time that I was not dealing with it properly. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew eventually I'm gonna have to deal with this in whatever capacity, in whatever way I want. People were just seeing other, my family was getting therapy and consultations and everything. And I was just working because that's just how just our upbringing and our childhood kind of messed us up in that way. It's like listen to music, listen and being part of like gangs and our upbringings of just us being tough dudes. That's who I
Mm-hmm.
was. But I knew that was there, and everything else just started compounding on top of that to where it transformed me to that person to where it's like, yeah, like, I'm not going to deal with nothing until it actually hits me. But
Mm-hmm.
that's when I was drinking heavy, it would hit. But then when I came to that realization, I was like, I need to have this, and for me to be able to work through this, I need to have an ally and yet to have a person or people that truly understands. When I'm on my low, you're gonna things are gonna come out to where it's just so like, man, that's so crazy. You're too sensitive, or you take things so out of proportion and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some tiny thing can just blow up. And that was me during that time where it's just like, you got to understand when I'm going through this isn't even me. This is me
Mm-hmm.
trying to control me and trying to reason exactly why I'm going through this. But all these things are just being inserted in my head that I'm conjuring up within myself. And that's me kind of just talking it through. Don't try to say and don't try to cure that current situation that I'm going through. Just listen.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to just sit there and be like, and just look and just empathize. You don't even need to say anything until I look back up to you, and just after I've gotten it all out, then you don't even need to insert whatever like advice or anything like that. Just
Hmm.
be there. And it's so powerful at that. But then the fact that once they understand you, they can't judge you. They can't belittle you because they know you've already at that point you're at your lowest point.
Yeah. Yeah.
At your lowest point. And to where it's like there's so much power in just letting yourself be out there and say, guys, I'm broken. It's like I know this is I was that dude that you looked up to, or I'm this kid that you think is, especially with fams like, yeah, he's dope, he's always so fresh and everything like that. But yo, once you start peeling off those layers and you're laying there staring at your ceiling at night, that's a lonely situation because you wake up alone, you sleep alone. And then when you
Hmm.
start thinking about that and it starts, there's a dark place that it takes you to, bro. And it's just that's why I had to get at you, man. It's like because I sat there and I like I said, once I saw that and I was like, I was sitting in that chair, like within you, to be honest with you, because I've dealt with that shit
Hmm.
and I've had that shit. And so this is the strip series, man. This is why, like, Rita from Healing Out Loud told me, and it not necessarily told me. It's like they've been doing a lot of like healing retreats, and there's just so much like Asian women on the rise right now, Filipinos
Hmm.
on the rise, Lao community on the rise, Southeast Asians were like sitting there and they're building, and a lot, and in my opinion, a lot of it is it's very powerful for the women, but the men just there's so much like ego that gets in the way. There's so much like hardened, what's made us hardened throughout the years, and what we got to do, and got
Hmm.
to do provide, or even just how we were born and built
Yeah.
um, from the streets. So it's hard to get together. So I'm like, I have zero like shame in putting myself out there as far as like, yo, we really got to talk about this, and we broke it. And you don't even know it. Because
Yeah.
once, I've
Yeah.
had conversations with cats and they're just like, they start talking. And I'm looking at them like, yo, I thought this guy I know this guy has it together, but there's so many broken parts when you dissect it to
Hmm.
where I don't know how that can be a negative thing for you to deal with it. Like what mental health awareness last month. And it's just, a lot of people kind of brush that aside until you actually have to tackle it on. And you're just,
Yeah. And I think
fuck
it
a
is.
month.
Yeah. It's like, hey, it does get brushed to the side, and they don't really show the importance of what males have to go through to like you said, humility, right? We have to face that sometimes. We have to go through it, but like it's gonna be hard, and you're just gonna worry about what other people are thinking or the judgment,
Yeah.
right? But if you could really just be vulnerable for that second and to just put yourself out there like I did yesterday, like I didn't even know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what was gonna come out of my mouth. I just put myself out there in my most vulnerable state. I didn't care how stupid I sounded or if I was just jibber jabbering, whatever,
Mm,
and just it, I just I don't know, man. Like what else I could do to just show everybody, hey, man, it's okay to be at your low and to talk about it, because that's the biggest thing you gotta do is talk about it. You gotta find somebody that's cool with, or someone that you love, and then just let you talk it out and
yeah.
and figure out the whys yourself. It's like, why am I feeling like this? Why is life the way it's going right now? Or how come I ain't got a job yet or whatnot? And
Hmm.
people are always gonna say, man, you gotta manifest and manifest and manifest.
No.
Man, you can tell me that shit over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing that right now. I'm writing my problems down. I'm writing the good shit and the bad shit, burning my letters away. You know what I'm saying? With all the negativities, like, okay, I did this. This is what's gonna change. But in the end of the day, you really got to have that strong support system and really put yourself out there,
Yeah.
right? Because if you can't and you're really hiding that shit to yourself, you are going to put yourself in a state of loneliness, because that's where you are right now. You're kicking everybody out. You're closing the doors. You're shutting the blinds. You're hiding underneath the blanket. Ain't nobody want to be in that with you. You know what I'm saying? You're sucking them into
Yeah.
a world that they don't know nothing about. And it's crazy to them. They're like, man, I can't do that shit. I'm not built like that. You know what I'm saying? We're built to be fucking stronger or whatnot. And, you know, being men, we got to be strong. No, we don't always got to be strong. We could show some vulnerability. We could show our lows. You know, we could show that we're not fucking as perfect as the world may make it seem like, you know, and it's okay. And that's the thing I have to deal with it. I got to tell myself, hey, it's okay. We're going to go through this.
Yeah.
Someone's going to reach out to you, and it could just be that one little comment or that one little text message, just flip everything right side up. And not necessarily that's what I was looking for, but I'm thankful for the people who did reach out to me and and say, hey man, you got this. And you're absolutely right, I do got this, you know. And I'm glad that they didn't look at me like, man, this motherfucker's crazy. I can't believe he did this shit. How fucking embarrassing. Because that's the last thing you want to hear, right?
That's
As
on
a
them.
man. Yeah.
That's on them though. And that's and it would be harder for them to say that out loud or post it in the comments than to actually post something that would be more supportive. You know how
Mm-hmm.
hard it is to be negative? It's so
Mm-hmm.
it takes more effort to be negative, to be more mad, to cry than to just be a good person, you know, just to be
Mm-hmm.
kind. It's like what's how's it hurting you if this person's actually putting themselves out there? How's it hurting you? And it's like how is it like lessening your life right now or the value of you like looking at this person if this it's so brave just to come out of your own personal shell to say, yo, I'm not right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's such a strong message, you know, and also leading the way just to being just that guinea pig. And I think there needs to be more and more of that because if there isn't a group that we can get together and as just homies or as just, you know, close friends or just, you know, weekend or something like that to where
Mm-hmm.
guys can just be like, yo, man, it's are you guys good? Are you good?
Yeah.
And it's like, when's the last time anybody's asked you straight up without even like knowing what's going on, which was like, hey, you good? Because I don't think I am. It's like we need to, you know, there needs to be that support system. There
Mm-hmm.
needs to be
Mm-hmm.
that support. And I'm not asking for it, but at the same time, I think individually there's strength in that, just even starting with one and one. And then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden be like, yo, I talked to so and so the other day. He's kind of going through it too. And then it just starts from there. You know, the whole ego factor is like we ain't G's no more. I don't care
No.
what you look like in the streets, and I don't care how many tats you got. I, you know, over here in Texas, I got like everybody is just it's a prerequisite to be super tatted because you know everybody came from hard times. But when I get together with these guys, it's just like they're the most lovable and the most like, you know, endearing people. And I don't even see that in them to have that like ego. And
Yeah.
it's but at the same time, it's like that still exists in many other places. And, you know, and just and unfortunately, it sounds like, you know, it's in Seattle sometimes it's just people are going through their own personal trials to where they can't be there for you or they can
Yeah.
or it feels like there's an ego in that. It's like we ain't G's no more. It's 2024.
Yeah.
That shit was like the 90s, man. That was like a lifetime ago. That's like adult children ago. And we're different people living for these adult like these children. And so it transforms into much different people, man.
Yeah.
But
That's absolutely right, man. It is a different time right now, and it should be to the point in our lives we could just be comfortable and be like, you know what, hey, I'm going through some shit, and if you're going through some shit, I mean, I'm
yeah,
here for you. We could sit there and talk it out. We could both, you know, come up with a solution, and maybe we could impact the people out there with our messages or whatever we're doing. And I'm hoping like when this goes out and people are listening, it's just like, oh shit, you know, there is another layer to me. I'm not always that kid anymore that's always going to be the
yeah,
life of the party or the coolest motherfucker out there in the streets or whatnot. I don't care for that kind of shit no more. And I think yesterday was like a realization was I'm looking around my bedroom, I'm looking at my kicks, you know, my kicks, man, I love sneakers, but
hmm
there's no meaning behind it no more. There's no
yeah,
love behind that
yeah,
shit. Like my toys, man, like I like it. They look cool, but it started to not hold any value anymore.
yeah,
And like everything that's important to me are the people that I surround myself around. And
yeah,
last week was my mom's birthday, and of course I was going through it since last week, and just being around them and and listen to the conversations that they were having, and looking at my brother's family, and that right there, just being around them, I said it in my mind, was like, this is the end goal.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody else around. It's just my nieces, my brother, my sister, my mom, my aunt, and that's
Nothing else
all you.
matters.
And nothing
Nothing
else
else
fucking
matters.
matters anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
and it
Exactly.
and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to grow up. And I think that's like one of the biggest things. Like, man, it's time to fucking.
Yeah.
It's really time to fucking grow up. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
put your ego to the side. It's okay if you fail, and it's okay. The shit's tough. Life is life, and it's gonna happen that way, regardless.
It takes a
And I'm
long
getting,
time.
yeah, and I'm getting emotional behind this shit because it's realization, and it's the fucking truth,
Yeah.
and that's how important family is to me, and like all my people around me. But at the end of the day, when you die, you don't bring all these people with you, right? And I was just like, to the point where, hey, I'm gonna be fine with just the circle that I have. I can't go out here reaching out and distracting my mind with all this bullshit that doesn't even matter to me anymore. You know, and I just got to do it for myself, and it starts with you. Like, this whole message is always going to start with you. Self love, self improvement, self care, all of that. Work on you, and things will fall into its place. Once you love yourself enough, you'll receive the love that you need in return. Even though you put it out there, it's like, I love everything. I love my life. I love my house. You know what I'm saying? And the things that you put out there that you love, even though it's a materialistic thing to others, you'll feel that energy back. It doesn't matter. It's the frequency and the vibration that you put out here in the universe. And if your vibration and your frequency is really low, you're gonna suck in everything that's negative. And and if you don't realize that shit's happening, you got to do things to make that change, right? You got to sit there and write your story out, plan your day, write those affirmations, and say that, hey man, you are who you are. You're a great person. Things are going to be great today. The sun's going to come out. It's not always going to be rainy. And to put yourself in a euphoric place in your mind, and you're just like feeling it, you can feel that energy just come back to you. And I'm a big believer in that. That's why, to me, when people are like, why do you need to be around people and stuff like that, is because it's not everybody that I want to be around. I want to be around those who have good energy, because that energy, you feed off that energy.
Mhm.
And so with depression, that frequency level drops to a point where everything that you're sucking in is a cloudy day. It's, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? You're a fucking failure. And you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's hard to bounce out of it. So you look back and you just got to focus. You got to really, really think, how am I going to raise my frequency up? How am I going to change this vibration with me? Why am I feeling so low? And like I told you, like in the beginning, it's like I had to figure out what the whys were. Why do I feel like this? Why am I
Yeah.
going through that? How long is this going to last? And it's always those same questions. It's like, why the fuck is there always a why? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could control everything that you can, but with depression, it's not that easy, man. It's like, motherfuckers think you could just snap out of it. And it's something that you really, really got to work on. It's kind of like working out, and riding a bike. The more and more you do it, it's just clockwork, and it just happens. You can just like, okay, I was feeling low yesterday. Now I'm ready to share my feelings with the world and why I felt like that yesterday, and and give you my all and not be embarrassed about it, right? And just got to go out there and just do it, and not look back and think, hey, you sound stupid for doing this shit,
No. No.
you know?
Nah. I mean, it's in the universe. Now they understand you better. In this situation. So I mean, you've put your life out there like at a very, and you've been public, and there's layers of us that we need to put out there to
Hmm.
where it's like, social media does that, right? Social media, you only put your best times, the dopest pictures, the dopest kicks, the dopest events, the vacations, all the stuff that you're putting out there to show the best of your life.
Yeah,
And it starts leading towards this, fake imagery of what you really deal with, fake, realities, and these hyperfixations and the highs and the lows. And then once you put it out there, I don't know, people react differently, but at the same time, like, the most morbid and the most violent, the more violent, the more, messed up videos get more clicks than the good videos,
that's true.
just the good story videos, to where it's
Hmm.
like, they don't like, they don't, people just don't like,
Positivity and seeing people win. It's weird, right?
yeah,
Because
that intention, right? That intention.
hmm
I'm going to tell you, and I don't, I just, we can run on this. I'm kind of just like, I've got a few things in my head that I'm really like, after we turn off the recording, I really need to get to. Um, but with you yourself, I mean, it's you've got so many epiphanies and so many things that you're coming into realizations. The maturation of of yourself dealing with the situation that you've got right now, right? You know what you got to do, but I think for you, the hardest part is just saying, you know what, I'm okay with like leaving all that stuff behind. I know,
hmm
unfortunately, in your end, it's just, the collections that you've had. It's just a lot of that stuff needs to become reality, in my opinion, for you to actually just start moving forward. I've seen you starting to move forward before, with, kind of shedding the what do you call, the ownership of certain things, and the stuff that you collected along the way. Um, and I think, and with you even having said that and putting it out there, I think there's already big steps towards that direction. And I think it's just the acceptance of, it's like, that really isn't me anymore. That really
hmm
isn't what the most important anymore. It's like that. It's like, who cares about just the validation because they got these on? The
hmm
validation more is just me pushing on, and people not messing with me because I'm this dude. I'm a different dude now, not
Yeah.
based on what you knew of me and how strong I was back then,
hmm
but my vulnerability and moving forward now, and the strength that
Yeah.
you're doing now. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
hope I hope that keeps moving, bro.
No,
I
I
really
think
do.
that's like a really, really big step. And I know, like, I'm a trendy person, but does that really make who I am? You know what I'm saying? Like, people say the brand doesn't make you, you make the brand. And that's absolutely right. It doesn't matter. Like, right now, like, downsizing on everything. I'm not looking into like Nordstrom's or nothing like that. I'm over here looking into Walmart. I'm looking into Target. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because it's just clothing. It's just materialistic things.
yeah.
You can make it look fresh on your own. And
Fresh is
it's you.
fresh, bro.
Yeah, it's
Fresh is
you who they
fresh,
love.
man.
They don't love the clothes. They don't like the kicks or whatnot. It might be look cool to look at for a second, but when they talk to you, are they talking about your shoes?
Yeah,
Absolutely not. They talk about your gear for that second. They be like, "Oh, shit, she looks fresh," but
and
when they
then,
and then it's just you, right? And
yeah,
people got to realize that it's like,
yeah.
hey, man, they don't love you for what you got. They love you for who you are. And I
Mhm.
think that was my struggle. And I keep telling people, like, why do you buy all these kicks? And why do you buy all this stuff? And my reasoning is it was something that I never had when I was younger.
Mhm.
And now that I have it, does it hold any value to me? It does to a sense because it brings me back to that childhood, that
Mhm.
memory. It's like, okay, I wanted that. Or the shoes that I had when I was a kid and now I could buy it. And every time I look at it, I think about my dad because those were the first shoes.
Mhm. Mhm.
I gotta let that go, man. Like your memories are going to be memories regardless. It doesn't take um, a pair of kicks or a sweater or a picture, you know what I'm saying, on a wall to remind you of where you've been and who you are. Because deep
Yeah.
down inside, you know who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you need that kind of validation, then hey, fucking more joy to you. It's like that's you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
when at this point in my life, I I can't fall back on that shit. It's not doing nothing for me. It's not giving me any happiness anymore. And it was brought to my attention. It's like, man, you care about things that don't fucking matter to you. You're holding on to clutter that doesn't fucking hold on to you. And the one thing about raising your vibration, your frequency, is to declutter and let go of all the fucking shit
Yeah.
around you that doesn't matter. Clean up, walk on grass barefooted. Um, you know, if I didn't say it already, like work out, do something physical, you know, read, be
Yeah.
passionate about something, right? Higher those vibrations and stuff like that, and then you'll start attracting all the good. And and I think that's where I'm at right now, my point in life, where okay, I didn't want to say you were wrong, but you were absolutely fucking right. I don't need this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Yeah.
need to look as cool as everybody thinks I am. You know, I mean, that's dope that they think that, you know, but that's not that's me to a sense, but that's not the real E. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If you sit down with me and talk and we just chopping it up, dude. I had sat with these two clients. They were 20 and 22. I was doing their girls. They came here, and I was just laying it down on them. You know, like, hey, this is what I do. This is what the possibilities that could happen if you want to do this on your own and do wholesaling, whatever. And it just came from that into having like a real genuine conversation about just life in general. It's like when you're growing up and people want to fuck with you, they love you to a point where they don't really want to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you could have the dopest shit, and that's what they look. But that dopest shit could turn into envy, right? And now they're envious of you. So you just got to do things on your own pace and just realize, hey, man, like you're doing it really for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. You're gonna grow. Things are gonna get better, and you know, because they were young, I was willing to be that mentor. It's like, man, if you guys ever need anybody to talk to and kind of figure things out in this industry, like in the beginning, as we started with what's good, and my first interview with you has always been a community thing, and that's not gonna stop. You know, I'm always gonna be there for that. I'm always gonna be there as a mentor, someone who's always gonna be supportive of whatever goals that you're doing, going through, try to make it. And if I could just be part of that, you know, that movement that they're trying to create, and they could see it and feel it and be responsive back, like, dude, you're fucking cool, you're dope as fuck. You know, oh my God, like people, there's not a lot of people like you. And I was like, oh shit, you know, these are 20, 22-year olds, you know what I'm saying? They're way younger than me. They're damn near half my age. And to get that kind of feedback was like a breath of fresh air, man. It's just like,
Hmm.
dude, that's my entire purpose of why I do what I do and who I really am, you know, and I can't not want to help you out. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. And that took nothing. You know what I'm saying? That didn't take me bringing up my computer. That didn't take me showing off my clothing, my
Mm-mm.
apparel, or nothing.
Mm-mm.
It was just a conversation and just being really genuine. You know, I didn't have to show off anything.
Yeah.
They saw me for who I really was, right? Because I was just in a hoodie, I, whatever, and I just had this conversation, and from there, just like, oh yeah, and
Well, that was one of the first things that I told you when you wanted to like move, and this was off camera, and this was via text, and this via phone call, and I meant it back then, and I was just waiting for those words to resonate and to get through you. It's like the clothes, the stuff that you're putting out there, and the more you like create more product line, or the more you want to just keep pushing whatever and rehash things that you were doing in the past, th- those have already made you who you are. You're now the brand. You don't
mhm,
need any more additional merchandise or anything like that. E's already the brand. You can literally recreate to a new you don't even need to bring 11 9 or even Creative Soul or Fresh Kids and nothing like that. You can literally be like, yo, this is me now. And once your name is behind that, there's everything else that you built up to it that goes with that. So
mhm,
nothing else, like all that stuff in the past, including and that as a professional, as a career, what you had as far as a previous career and your successes in those, and then also you apply that to your personal self, to where it's like they already know me in the streets, who I am as a person, who I was, what I stood for, and what I built as an individual. But then the rebuilding of yourself, to where it's like, but this is me now, and this is what I
mhm,
want to be, and this is how I want to simplify myself. If you think I'm weak now dressing with like, just a black top, jeans, and some kicks, right, that might not be off the, just some drip,
mhm,
and you look at me like he fell off. It's like, well, you never really knew me,
mhm,
because I stay fresh, because like I still can put an outfit together regardless where it came from.
mhm,
So
mhm,
at that point, and the importance of that is so minimal at this point in life. You're just trying to
Hmm.
keep shit together.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
for the people and at the same time, so you can see me at the lowest low because I can't s- continue my life trying to live up to however everybody else is going to react to me.
Hmm.
I'm trying to continue my life and in this next phase of my life to where the people that are most important to me can be the most proud of me because you know what, he finally broke through and decided to live the best of himself and who he is himself now. And that is, you know, that's definitely something. What a huge first step yesterday, bro. Again, it takes so much bravery to even step out of a shell and say, hey, this is me. This is really me now. And it's like if I'm helping you, because I know there's people out there that may not be as broken as us,
Hmm.
or maybe even in a worse place. And if we can just put ourselves out there to show that it's like, you know, it's all messed up right now. You ain't got to put that mask on. When you lay in bed, just know there's like, yeah, I shared myself out there and
Hmm.
I can now move forward rather than laying in bed. It's like, man, people don't really know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
That's
fact that you
absolutely true.
said that's really it right now, bro. Um, we'll continue.
Yeah.
We'll follow up, and we'll just, you know, I mean, this really pushes a lot more of a just a purpose in, you know, in this media stuff. So
Hmm.
get at me, get at
Yeah.
me. You're gonna be
No,
all right.
I'm gonna be okay. And thank you for making this an outlet for many people that you've been putting on, and just hearing them go through whatever they're going through. Because, like you said, we don't know who the real you is
Hmm.
until you're actually a set to put it out there.
Yeah.
And like you said, that first step was probably the pivotal moment in my life. Now it's like, okay, now I could fucking finally move on from my struggles. And they're just like, oh, there's no persona that I need to uphold anymore, or upkeep, right? It's just now you see me stripped of who I really am. And thank you for that.
Love you, man.
I love you too, bro.
I love you. We'll catch up.
For sure.